Yes. So Germany offers a lot of social benefits to everyone. So this might not be new to some people already because some people don't know about it. And Germany also provides work-life balance. So basically, most European countries provide that, not as compared to some other countries. You are just working and working and working. So it's just like a rat race wherein you're just trying to earn some money to just to pay the bills. But here in Germany, I've noticed that you are not just working, but you're also enjoying at the same time. So I think that's one advantage why people choose Germany as well. And as for me, I have some friends who are already working here in Germany as well. So they're working already here as a nurse. So that's also one of the reasons why I chose to work here instead.
Great. So you spoke about some of the benefits that Germany has. Let me ask you, what are some of the key advantages or key benefits of living in Germany? What are some of the benefits?
Yes, so there are many benefits. Like, for example, if you retire, you can get a retirement payment. So there is a retirement plan. And if Arbeitslosigkeit, we also say that if, for example, you are terminated from work and you don't have a work, the German government would be providing you some money as well. And another benefit that you can get is also if you are an expat working here, you can also get your family. For example, your husband, your kids, you can get your family here already. For me, as for me, I have 18A visa, so A1 German language is no longer required for my husband. So that's the reason why I can get him, even though he doesn't have a German language A1 visa. A1, I should say. So that's one advantage as well. And another advantage is, of course, another benefit, I should say, is of course the salary. So you can get a higher salary as compared to some other countries. And we also have 29 to 30 days paid vacation leave here in Germany. So, again, that's a big plus. You know, you're on a vacation and you're getting paid. You can enjoy life for 30 days, and that's just like a month. You can even extend that depending on your employer. And you are also given 6 weeks paid sick leave if, for example, you are sick and you didn't know what you might do or whatever, anything like headache, dysmenorrhea, anything. So if you are sick, then you can just file for a sick leave. So unlike in some other countries wherein you work and work and work even though you are sick, because of course you have to pay a lot of bills. So again, those are just some of the benefits. I may not have included some, but I guess I've included the best benefits I could get here. Yeah.
Wow. So let me ask you, what job opportunities are available for foreigners and expats in Germany?
Yeah, so there are many job opportunities for expats if you come here in Germany. So one of them is of course being a nurse, another one is being a caregiver if you want to, and another in-demand job here is being a software engineer, ITs, because I also have a Filipino friend whom I have met because of some Filipino friends as well. So he's here as a software engineer, and some other jobs are, of course, in the sales industry, in the in the hotel industry, because, for example, expats, if you're an expat, therefore, you can already speak another language. And if you come here, you would learn the German language. So speaking two language at the same, I mean, being bilingual or multilingual is always an advantage in anywhere you go. So I think that would be a plus if you come here as well. So there are many opportunities for you. You can work in the hotels, restaurants, in airports, anywhere. So yeah, I think those are some of the jobs.
How challenging is it for
Mhm.
foreigners or expats to find a job in Germany or to start a business in Germany? How challenging is this? Or how difficult is this?
Yes, actually it's difficult, I would say, at first, because again, you would need to learn the language. But for some, they don't need to learn the language, again, depending on the industry that you are going to work with. But as for me, for example, I'm a nurse, I interact with patients. So that's the reason why German language is important. So again, it depends on the industry that you are going to work with. So if you want to, of course, just have maybe an A1 or A2 language, then you can also learn online because there are also some free online schools, and you can also have face-to-face schools. And I think there are also some free German schools. You just have to search them on the internet. But then again, since it's free, it's difficult to get the slot. So yeah, that's an advice for some.
So, talking about the German language, what are some of the challenges that you faced when you first entered Germany?
Well, the challenges that I faced, of course, again, the language, because there are many dialects in each place here in Germany. Just because you learn the language doesn't mean that you can already talk to many people here, because there are many dialects in each region. Like for example, where I'm working in Saxon region, so they have again a dialect here. So it's difficult because some words are actually not the same with the Hochdeutsch that I learned from school. So again, you have to adopt. So language is again a key factor if you are working here in Germany. So it's difficult at first, but then again, nothing is difficult. Everything at first is difficult, right? But if you are going to have some patience, determination, and diligence to learn the language, then soon you'll be able to push through in everyday life here in Germany. And aside from the language, another difficulty I think is, of course, homesickness, because you're away from your family. On the first few months, you'll have to adjust not being with them. But then again, because of social media, so I think being homesick is just not too much of a problem already. Yeah. So I think those are the two major problems of coming here.
Was there anything in Germany that surprised you the most?
Okay, in terms of surprising things, Sundays. Okay, so everything is closed here in Sundays, and that's really annoying for me because I really want to go out on weekends, especially in the Philippines. You know, we have a lot of mall parks in the Philippines, and everything is open on the weekend because that's, of course, a day off of everyone. We love to go out, but here, Sundays all grocery stores are actually closed, but some of them are open. If you go to the train stations, for example, they are actually open. And another annoying thing that I find it really not good here is that when you transfer in an apartment, sometimes they don't have kitchen. So unlike in the different places in different countries, they already have appliances. They may not have some, but they have a kitchen. So kitchen is already there, right? But here in Germany, you still have to install your own kitchen. And I find that really annoying because it's also expensive. And but in some apartments you can find that there are already some kitchens there. But then again, I think especially if you are finding an apartment in the outskirts or yeah, not in big cities, you'll have to really spend a lot of money if you're trying to find a new apartment.
Talking
Yeah.
about apartments, how is the cost of living in Germany comparing to other European countries? Are things expensive? Are things less expensive? High, low? How is the cost of living?
I think if I were to compare it to the Philippines, of course, the cost of living here is high. But if I were to compare it with US, where some of my relatives are working in, I think Germany's cost of living is way a bit lower as compared to the US. Because here in Germany, where I'm working in, like for example, I work in the outskirts of town, so the apartment costs around 300 to 600 euros, depending on which how many rooms you are going to rent per month. That is in the outskirts of town. But if you live in Berlin, Munich, Frankfurt, or some other big cities here in Germany, the apartment would cost around, that's just for one room, it would cost about 1,100 euros to 1,600 euros. So as you can see, it's really expensive. That's just for the apartment. And on the other side, if you are renting an apartment here in Germany, the cost of electricity, water, internet bills sometimes are already included in that amount, especially in big cities. Like, for example, you rented an apartment that costs around 1,200 euros. The internet electricity, water bills are already included in that. However, if you are renting an apartment in the outskirts of town, some of them you still have to register for electricity. And that electricity bill here, by the way, good to know, here in Germany is actually fixed. Okay, so the electrical company would already charge you a fixed amount, unlike in the Philippines wherein it would depend on how much you consumed for the month. Here, for example, in my part, I have to pay 45 euros per month. So that's a big difference. And you can also get a refund with your electricity if, for example, you did not consume all the electrical how do you call the watts that they try to put on your bill. And if, for example, you did not use all those watts, they will give you a refund. And to be honest, I got around 250 euros refund last year. And I think that's also a good one, right? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what about
Yes.
transportation and food?
Ah, yeah, I forgot. The transportation, in terms of transportation, we have 45 euro ticket here in Germany. So for that 45 euros, you can already spend that for 1 month. And I think that's already cheap, right? You can use that for buses, trams, regional trains. And to be honest, I've also used that 45 euro ticket to travel to Salzburg, Austria before. So that means I've already traveled to one country to another just using the 45 euro ticket. So that's again a good advantage, right? But avoid ICE trains or the fast trains because you cannot use that if you will just use the 45 euro ticket. So I use that in terms of transportation. It's of course cheaper, right? But you can also buy some tickets or whatever if you want, depending on your budget, of course. And taxis here, by the way, are actually expensive, so please avoid taxis as well. And in terms of what's the other one? Transportation, groceries, for example, for food. So if I'm living alone, so my budget is around 150 euros per month. Depending, of course, if you love to eat out. Because if you love to eat out, sometimes one meal would cost you around 15 euros to 20 euros. So, yeah, it depends. If you love to cook, then that would range from 150 euros to 200 euros per month. For me, I think that's already cheap because in that euros, I can also eat together. I think that budget is also good for two because sometimes I host a party with my friends and that's already enough. So I think food here is cheap, transportation is cheap here in Germany, but the apartments are really expensive. Yes.
How can people budget or save money as an expat?
Well, as an expat, you have to manage your money depending on your needs. So prioritize your needs first before your wants. And I am using credit cards, but I try to limit the amount of money that I use every month. So you really need to control yourself from spending because there are a lot of sales here in Germany. Like, for example, Black Friday sales in November. So those are really sales. So I try to save money and just expend my money with that kind of sales or Amazon Prime sales. So I try to look forward to this sales and not just go out and buy anything I want. So it's better to buy them on sale instead. And another spending habit that I think that would be better for you is that you need to have a bank account that is really good just for your savings and another bank account which is just good for your spending. So again, if you really want to how do you say it, to save money, then I guess you need to prioritize your needs first. Yeah.
Michelle, is Germany safe for foreigners and expats?
Generally a safe country for expats, in my own opinion, because there are so many opportunities, and Germany is already open for expats, especially if you are on the west side. And to be honest, in my 2 years being here in Germany, I haven't experienced yet like maltreatment just because I'm Asian here, because of course, you know, already some countries have that Asian hate, as they say, but here in Germany, I haven't experienced that much of Asian hate yet. There are some, but of course, not too much. For me, it's not really degrading. However, in some parts, I think they have experienced Asian hate, as they say. But then again, generally speaking, if I were to say generally speaking, Germany is actually safe, especially for children.
Oh, okay. Germany is actually safe. Great one. We are almost done with our conversation though. Last time we heard of Germany opportunity card on social media, and
Mm-hmm.
everywhere you go, you'll be hearing Germany opportunity card
Yes.
2024, Germany opportunity card. Michelle, do you know anything about it?
Yes, actually, that's what we call the Chancenkarte visa. Okay, so that's the German opportunity card. So recently, Germany opened this for everyone, and I think that's again another good opportunities for those people from different countries who would like to come here in Germany. So this depends on the skills, on the language, and some money. So it's like a point system. And a good thing is that you are not no longer allowed. I mean, it's not a requirement, a big requirement for you to learn the German language already. So for as long as you get 6 points in this Chancenkarte visa or the German opportunity card, then you can already apply and come here in Germany. And even though you don't have work yet. So you will be given 1 year to stay here in Germany and find a job. And I think within that 1 year, you could land a job because there are many jobs here in Germany, to be honest. Sometimes jobs, you would find more jobs as it's easier to find a job as compared to finding an apartment. Actually, that's a big, I've already proven that because I found a job recently, and then, you know, finding a job is really easy because they are everywhere, but finding an apartment is more difficult because then again, housing here in Germany is expensive, and you really need to compete not just with fellow expats but the fellow Germans as well. So finding a cheap apartment is difficult. But then again, the German opportunity card or the Chancenkarte visa is, I think, a big opportunity for everyone. So I hope most people would try it as well.
Oh, okay. Do they have any criteria for this Germany opportunity card?
Yes, actually, they have a specific criteria for this German opportunity card. Like for example, if you have A1 language visa, I'm sorry, A1 language German, I think you get 1 point. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure with the pointing system, but you can check it out on the Make It in Germany website, and it's all there. So please check it.
Great. If in case you just join us here at GH Africa TV, if this is your first time of watching a video on our platform, kindly subscribe to our channel and click or hit on the bell notification icon to always get an update from us whenever we upload a new video. My name is Nino. Also, don't forget to share the video as well. Michelle, like I said, we are almost done with our conversation. Any financial tip advice for anyone who wants to visit abroad?
If you are traveling abroad financially wise, you need to save money, of course, for everything that you need first. Like, for example, your money for food, apartment, or hotels. If you are traveling, okay? So find a time, or if you're traveling, you need to research first about this country because there are some places wherein there are cheaper hotels in this place as compared to this place, like for example on that, and save money. Okay, so just because a lot of people go to some place doesn't mean that the food there is good. So you can try to find some local areas wherein you can especially buy some foods there, and sometimes they are also cheaper. So yeah, prioritize your needs.
Prioritize your needs. Michelle, before you give a shout out to family and friends, you know many will love to visit Filipino.
Oh, really?
So I want you to say a word, one or two, to anyone who wants to visit Filipino, Philippines.
Oh, yes, of course. Filipinos is I mean, Philippines is actually um a beautiful country, okay? So it's actually a Christian country. So a lot of Catholics are there, and I think it's yeah, it's the biggest Catholic country in Asia. And another good thing is that there are many overseas Filipino workers everywhere. So anywhere you go to in the world, you could always find Filipinos there because, like I said, our skills are worldwide. And then the Philippines is actually an island, okay? We have a lot of beautiful beaches, beautiful mountains everywhere. So if you try to check on Philippines and check the images there, you could also see a lot of beautiful beaches there. And to be honest, a lot of celebrities, Hollywood celebrities as well, also want to go to our place because of the beaches, the beautiful beaches that we can offer. So I hope you guys try to visit my country someday as well. So my TikTok account is Michelle A. Lupang. And my YouTube, I've actually just made this one like 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. So please subscribe also to my YouTube channel. It's called Michelle's Journey. And on my Facebook, you can check me on Michelle Lupang and my Instagram as well. So those are all just connected to each other. So I hope you guys subscribe and shout out to my family as well in the Philippines because I know they miss me a lot. I've been working here for 2 years and I haven't gone home yet. And I really love my family so much. You know, it's big. I think that's one of the bad things of working abroad because you're far away from your family. And I hope my husband would be coming here soon as well. Shout out to my husband, Kim Lupang, and to my mother, Victoria Alcantara. So, yeah, shout out also to my friends here in Germany who have been really helping me a lot with my they are actually very supportive with my TikTok account and my social media accounts. So I'm really happy that I have some Filipino friends here in Berenstein, Germany. So again, thank you also for the opportunity of being like how do you call it? Um an extra on your video.